Hi, thank you for clicking on this video. Navigating is a weekly show where I get together with some of my co-hosts and guests and discuss my opinions and their opinions on how information and media affects and shapes our lives. I also do different kind of explainers, so tune in for that as well on this channel. Anyways, in this episode, I have invited Tarutr Malhotra. He runs a newsletter and tries to give hardcore cricket fans the stories they deserve. Now, why is this important even if you aren't a sports fan or a cricket fan? Because in our conversation, we dismantle the systems that stop journalism from doing good investigative journalism and put out stories that actually matter. We also talked about the Women's World Cup and how his team covered it. So I hope you like this one. Towards the episode.
Hello, welcome everyone to Navigating Convocast. This is a very special episode for me because after a long time I have a guest and I wanted to speak with this person from a long time. He was so busy because India was just winning the World Cup. Indian women's team was winning the World Cup. It's no big deal, but he's back. He's given me time now, and thank you so much. I just want to correct me if I pronounce your name wrong. It's Tarutra, right? Tarutra?
Yeah, Tarutr.
Yeah, Tarutra. So, hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, Avinash. Thanks for having me on.
And thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. Often people pronounce it Avinash or Avinish.
Uh,
So it was, yeah. So you've got the first part right, first part of the conversation right. Um, yeah. So I want to tell people. So people who may already know you, they might know what you do and how good you are at that. I know it. I just want you to ask, can you give a brief description of what you do so that people who might not know you get excited and visit your content and what you do? Yeah.
oh, get excited is going to be, we'll see if that happens or not, but I can tell you what I do. So I run a cricket newsletter called Best of Cricket. It started off as a very simple thing. As a cricket fan, it's really, really hard to keep up with cricket news. It feels like every third article, every second article is just clickbait, right? Telling me
Yeah.
about Dhoni's latest haircut or Kohli and
Mhm.
Anushka Sharma's latest holiday, which I don't care about, right? I'd rather know about the sport, what's happening, what's going on, the tactics, the strategies, even the business of it, even the administration of it, but just not the boring clickbait stuff. So I started the newsletter just going, okay, since it's so hard to figure this out, I'm going to do it myself. So what I
Mhm.
do every morning, 6 days a week, is I go through like 100 websites that cover cricket, starting from the obvious ones like ESPN and CricBuzz, but all the way to a bunch of personal blogs and personal Substacks that people are writing all over the world. I put it all together every morning and I send it out. Indian time, I send it out by like 9:30 in the morning. I try to send it out by then, and it's a very simple thing of, oh, these are the maybe 10 articles that I read from the last 24 hours that are great, right? They could be anything. It could be about
Mhm.
Bangladesh's youth system. It could be about how Aksar Patel is fighting for his place. It could be about anything, right? There's no like, my only criteria is it has to be a really good article. And after I'm done reading it, I have to enjoy it, right? I'm
Mhm.
happy that I spent 5 minutes doing this with my life.
Yeah.
So that's the only criteria. That's what I started with a couple of years ago now. And over time, I think discovered that a lot of people have the same problem of,
Mhm.
I want to watch cricket, I want to follow cricket, but it's too hard, right? Once the match is over, everyone, when the match is over, whether your team loses or wins, you want to do more. You want to talk to
Yeah.
a friend, you want to go on Twitter, you want to listen to a podcast, something, right? But every time you go online, it's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
So you spend all of your time just reading and listening to people talking complete crap. And I think just I wanted to solve for that, and people have started following me. It's a thing I did for myself. It actually started off as I used to put it in a Word document and send it to like 15 people, and then it became, oh, okay, you should put it publicly. So I put it on Substack,
Mhm.
and it's just grown since then, luckily. But over 2 years doing that, it's given me a sense of what works in the cricket media and what doesn't work. And coming full circle to why we're doing this pod is, one of the things I realized is match reports in cricket suck, right?
Yeah.
It's a thing that we read every day and they really suck. It gives you nothing. If you've Even gone on Twitter, you already know everything the match report is going to tell you.
Yeah.
Forget even watching the match, right? Any hardcore fan that spends 5 days watching a test match is rewarded with a match report that says, "Ha, India won." Like, okay, I know that. I didn't need you to write this for me. So the idea I had then was going, okay, maybe we can do a better match report, right?
Hmm.
For if you say I'm not targeting 10 million people who didn't watch the match. I'm targeting 10,000 people who are hardcore fans who watch the entire match, and we are going to try and do analysis for them to explain
Hmm.
things beyond what they saw, right? We tried it first earlier this year for the WPL. Went relatively well, but it was a lot of rookie writers. They were learning on job. I was learning what I was doing. We made lots of mistakes. And then we did it again for the Women's World Cup, which got lucky. The right tournament to do it for it captured
Yeah.
national intelligence, national attention in India, where everyone by the end of the tournament was watching it. Um, but this time around, I got a lot of established writers or established
Hmm.
analysts who came on board. Um, and I mean, I'm biased, but I thought we did a pretty good job of
Hmm.
covering it in a new way. I think, and we got some good feedback from people in the industry, people working in the data side of the industry. Were reading it. People working as analysts for teams, national teams, local teams, whatever, were reading it. And of course, fans were reading it. We got lots of people who responded by saying, "Hey, I didn't really watch women's cricket, but because of this, I started watching it.
Hmm.
It's been easy for me to pay attention because you're giving me all this information where even if I miss the first 10 matches, I know
Hmm.
everything about everything. I know who the right good players to follow are, the right team to
Yeah.
follow is. So I could pick up halfway through the tournament, right? I could come in and be like, oh, I'm ready to watch the final because I've been following the reading for a month. So I know what India is good at. I know what South Africa is good at. I'm looking forward to it now. I've had people who on Twitter, you go on social media, people fight, right? It becomes on dog fight. You're just
Yeah.
insulting each other. You're not really making points anymore. So I've actually had people who conversation starts like that. They insult me, and then I go, okay, listen, instead of insulting me, why don't you go read this? We've actually sat and we've published these,
Hmm.
you know, 2,000 word analysis 1 hour after the match is over, right? Covering 4 or 5 different topics in the game. Go read it. Come back and tell me the analysis is stupid. No problem. But
Hmm.
let's have the conversation at a slightly higher
Yeah.
level than you are telling me I'm dumb. I'm telling you you're dumb.
Yeah.
And it has happened. I've actually had people who've gone,
Yeah.
read it, come back and say, listen, I don't think you're dumb anymore, but I still disagree with you for, XYZ
Yeah.
reason. And you're like, that's fair. We don't have to
Yeah.
agree. But now we're like, this is a smarter conversation. I am enjoying the conversation
Hmm.
more. You're enjoying the conversation more. Suddenly we're friends. This is the
Hmm.
internet working for us rather than making us angry. So I think overall for us, it's been a very exciting thing. Um, Also working with the writers every day. They're all in their early to mid 20s. So it's
Hmm.
fun working with kids like that who have all of these ideas and are all excited and all of the energy in the world. And, I'll sit here and I'll get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and work for 8, 9 hours. And the match starts at 3 o'clock. And then have to work for another 10 hours, right? Because the matches end at
Hmm.
12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
The only reason I could do that is because the writers are all excited about everything every day. So it was just a very fun experience overall. I think cricket journalism, cricket writing is not always that fun. So it
Hmm.
was just a good experience.
And you talked about how some of the readers actually read your articles and then were in or got interested to watch women's World Cup, and I think that has to be one of the biggest motivator, like motivation factor to do it, because yeah, people who have already watched it are reading your articles, and hardcore fans who you want to reach, that's one part of it. But if someone can get motivated to watch uh, a sport, but let alone women's cricket, which is, of course, even if it drew a lot of attention this World Cup, it still was negligible compared to men's World Cup, right? But if someone is watching, that has to be one of the biggest motivation factor for you. How
Yeah,
was,
yeah. It's
yeah.
sorry, sorry, I cut you off.
So how was that phase for you? Like, I want to drop into this World Cup, whatever happened.
Mm.
How did it start? How did you get through it? And what did it take to put everything together every single day?
Hmm. So it's two questions. So let me answer the first one quickly. Yeah, it was great. I mean, seeing the readers respond was validation every day, right? So putting
Hmm.
in 16-hour days every day for a month, while doing all the other things in my life that need to be done. Right? No holidays, no weekends, because all the big matches are Saturday and Sunday. I think it's purely the readers, right? Every time someone reaches out and say, "Oh, I really like this. Oh, I was looking forward to this. I've stayed out till 1 o'clock waiting for your article to come out." Um, that's big validation for me, right? I'm a big believer that the media should work for small audiences, not for
Hmm.
10 million people. It should work for 1,000 people, right? I think people have now built a personal relationship, right? Like me and you've been following it for a couple of years, so we just have a
Yeah.
personal relationship because of that, which is different from following someone at ESPN or ClickBuzz or whatever. But the other bit, how did we set it up? So actually, I set this up like 3 days before the World Cup started. I just the Sunday before the World Cup started, I went, I want to do something. My schedule seems relatively light. And I started reaching out to people the Sunday before the World Cup started. The World Cup, for some weird reason, I think started on a Wednesday. As cricket scheduling is a mess. But so it was 3 days of just reaching out and saying, hey, let's try it, see what happens. We'll see what happens. We got, I think, 10, 12 people signed up. Within the first 3 days, like half of them dropped out, just saying, hey, listen, this is too much of a time commitment. I don't feel like I'm ready to do something like this in my career, whatever their reasons were, or
Hmm.
whatever, something personal came up. So, and then along the way, we also got a couple of more people. So someone like Sarthak Dev only showed up few days into our coverage because he saw what we were doing and enjoyed it so much, saying, listen, I've not really followed women's cricket. I don't really do statistical analysis, but I want to do this. So yeah,
Hmm.
I'm totally into come and join you. Um, that was another nice validation thing when, good writers were saying, yeah, this sounds cool. I want to come
Yeah.
and do this. Um, So that's how we initially started up. I just literally WhatsApped a bunch of people, reached out to them on Twitter, reached out to them on Substack, said, "Hey, I want to do this. Do you want to try?" Luckily, a lot of people were enthusiastic as well. Now we started. The first problem that we came up with was there's no data in cricket, right?
Hmm.
It's impossible to look up things for
Yeah.
anything in cricket. And part of the problem that adds to it is, like you were saying, people don't watch women's cricket the same way they watch men's cricket. So there's not this intuitive understanding of, oh, this is how this player bats, this is how that player bowls, oh, this player is good at fielding, that team is bad at strategy. That's not there because we don't
Yeah.
watch it enough. And
Hmm.
there are not enough games also to begin with. So there's a big data problem. How do you solve the data problem? My first solution was, okay, there has to be some open source data somewhere. And there is this website called ClickSheet that has a lot of ball by ball data. So it's not the most comprehensive. It is just one guy sitting and doing it, and he's automated
Hmm.
some stuff, and he puts it up. 2-3 days after match is over, he'll put it all up. But I just took that and I went and I talked to ChatGPT and said, "Listen, I've got all of this ball by ball data that I think is correct. I don't know. Uh, how do I turn this into a usable database?" So I spent the first week of the tournament, not just working on this, not just working on my own life, but building this database from scratch on the back end, where I also had to go, you know what, these are a bunch of writers.
Hmm.
They might have some tech experience, but I can't ask them to suddenly become database experts.
Yeah.
So I had to do a second thing of saying, okay, we set up the database. I've then gone and checked it against ESPN and say, oh, okay, the data is correct. And then you go, okay, now I have to make it easy for them to use. So then you are
Hmm.
going, okay, I have to create some kind of overlay where they can just ask a question and get an answer,
Hmm.
right? And the cool thing about that is what we started realizing once we started using it was cricket right now is you can use data very specifically. Oh, you want to know how many runs this person scored this
Hmm.
year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pick him first there. But if I want to know how many runs they scored in how many runs did Smriti Randhana scored in partnership with Shafali Verma versus Pratika Rawal between the overs of 3 and 6 against only these three teams, it will take you 2 hours to search that on ESPN. Versus with this database, it's a minute. You type it in,
Hmm.
it goes searches the database, it gives you the answer,
Hmm.
right? So that was a big time saver. And I am a big believer that if you're going to do things, you should do it in public. Right? Cricket's
Hmm.
big problem is everyone wants to hide in the shadows and do things in the shadows because it thinks it gives them some advantage. So the moment the database was ready, I announced it in my newsletter saying, hey, listen, we've done this. We're trying some stuff. Data is a
Yeah.
problem. This is our solution. come read more articles. Within 24 hours of putting that post up, someone from ClickWiz reached out to me and said, listen, I'm a big fan, have access. So for the rest of
Mm,
the tournament, we had both this database access and we had ClickWiz's access for
mm,
all of their shot tracking data, things like that. So not ball tracking, but all the other things that they do. So which obviously you can see in the analysis we had, it became very, very specific. We could actually ask questions and answer them very well. And it was all completely free, right?
mm,
It was a thing of I was paying the writers and whatever the $300 for ChatGPT for that
yeah.
monthly subscription to ChatGPT. That was my cost, right? The whole month together was about $300.
Mm,
Right? It's not oh, I'm throwing money at anything.
yeah.
Um, and but between those two things, between the database, between the ClickWiz access, and all of these writers dedicatedly showing up, right? Two, three of them showed up for every match. Sometimes four, five, six of them showed up. One of them had dengue halfway through and just willed herself to come back and write for the final, even though she was not yet ready. She was like,
Yeah.
I can't, it's a final. I have to come and write one more. I can't skip this anymore. I've missed the whole semifinals. It's very bad. So I didn't say anything. The kids they got sick, uh, came back. The kid who was at Diwali holiday with his parents and drove back halfway through one of the matches. Like, listen, I'll do the second innings. Don't worry. I'm like, this is amazing. Go celebrate Diwali with your
Yeah.
family. Stop worrying about this. But it's really great to see this from all of you. So that's basically it. I think what we realized, especially in our writers group towards the end, set up a little WhatsApp group so we could talk to each other, is that people are interested because these are interesting things, right? Cricket is it's like one relationship. You're spending 8 hours a day watching games, spending another 2-3 hours on Cricinfo, on CrickBuzz, looking up scores, another
Yeah.
hour on YouTube watching some podcast. Like it's a full-time job, and it doesn't. Most of the time, it sucks. Like you don't get good things in return. Commentary sucks, or half the times the commentators are getting the wrong names. The written stuff, we've already gone through it. So I think doing this and realizing, oh, there are really interesting stories and really small things. Not everything has to be the biggest story in the world. It can be a small thing of, hey, this number 8 player in South Africa is really, really good against spin. And that's how it impacted today's match. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's irrelevant tomorrow, but it's a really interesting thing today
Mm.
because I just watched her hit 30 runs off 10 balls.
And I think also reading these stories that are not talking about the biggest thing out there, but picking up small things, I think it slows time down a bit because
Mm.
then we are looking at, oh, this person, yeah, she has or he has just 3,000 ODI runs, but 3,000 ODI runs is a big thing. It's because we've seen, okay, Virat Kohli and Tendulkar scoring
Yeah.
11,000, 15,000, 18,000 runs. Perhaps we don't look at 3,000 runs in that way, but when you read an article and talk about his or her story, or look at analysis and how this batter is actually really good technically, and this one innings actually showed how he or she is a very talented batter, or even a
Mm.
bowler, and you look at, oh yeah, these guys have their own stories, these guys have their own moments, and it slows time down a bit, and I really like that. And I try to read more about more stuff on cricket, football, and F1. These are like the holy trinity in my life. So it's cricket, football, and then F1 throughout the weekend. Something or the other happens. Yeah, but that's amazing. And yeah, sorry if I interrupted you, you can just like continue. But I just felt that this was something I really appreciate about people doing something that you are doing, like picking up stories that are not the biggest thing out there, but are made for people who really are into that subject and they don't get it. I completely agree. Even like the way football is covered at the European Football Premier League is covered, you at least get like 1,000 YouTube channels who will do analysis for you, and it is still interesting. You can pick three or four, and you can disagree with them, but it's still good, and they still challenge the mainstream media. But in cricket, at least in Indian cricket, I don't see that, right? You don't see YouTube videos with these proper discussions happening, or even articles that are long form and not opinion based. So you can find opinion articles a lot, but like taking stats or actually analyzing stuff, that is something, yeah, that is, and I'm also especially happy because we used to do this the ground thing, the ground.in, where along with the writers we used to publish long form stories, because I was somehow inspired by the athletic story and I felt that people need that here. It, of course, unfortunately didn't work out because of, other
Happens, yeah.
issues. Happens, but I'm so happy that you are someone like just carrying that, and I can now just sit back and not have the stress of just continuing this, but I can just sit back and read and support you guys. So amazing work. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. But I'm glad you brought up the concept of other sports also. I think a lot of cricket fans traditionally have, especially in India, have like single sport fans, right? They only watch cricket,
Yeah.
which fair enough. It takes you 5 days to watch one match. There's not time to watch other sports. Um, but when you only watch cricket, you don't realize how much is missing from the
Yeah.
coverage, right? When you watch football, even F1 has got great stuff. Even sports like chess and gymnastics, all those have great coverage, right? I mean, myself, this is one of the things that I try to incorporate in this coverage. The Women's World Cup coverage we did was steal from as many sports as possible, right? Go
Mhm.
steal from basketball, go steal from baseball, steal from American sports are very well covered.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even find them the most entertaining, but they're very, very well covered.
Yeah.
Right? Every angle, every player, every team, there are 10 people writing about it, right? And in detail. Like you said, it's not just an opinion, it's they're actually finding out, they're either reporting information or they're analyzing information and saying, this is a fundamental truth. Do what you want with it. You don't have to like the player, you don't have to like the team. But be more interested, right? I think a simple version of cricket is everyone can tell you about Virat Kohli's off stump weakness,
Yeah.
right? Because he's big enough that it's worth analyzing, even for
Yeah.
the mainstream guys, right? And knowing about that makes you feel better about spending all this time listening to
Mhm.
cricket, watching cricket, reading cricket,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You go, oh, I understand the game better now. I
Yeah.
can have a better conversation with my colleague at work tomorrow morning, right? It's and if you just take that and say, okay, we can do it for more than one player, right? I can. It doesn't just have to be Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
What about Akshar Patel,
Yeah.
right? What about Vaibhav Suryavanshi? There is more to be written about than, oh my God, this 14-year-old is amazing. He's amazing. It's
Mm.
crazy that he's 14. But why is he amazing? How is he amazing? What is the cool thing is he doing? Right? How did Rajasthan make him like use him well? Because they didn't just throw him in the deep and said play over 14 matches. They used him properly. They used him strategically against the correct teams with the right bowlers. So all of that is I can't imagine any cricket fan saying, oh, I don't want to know more.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's if you love something enough to watch it, why would you not want to know more?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you understand Marathi? Or
None.
yeah. So okay. So I'll try to find that clip. So there's an actor named Bharat Jadhav,
Hmm.
and many years back he had a play, and in that play there's a scene where his
Hmm.
parents actually mock him, or parents actually scold him, like, you just spend your entire days watching cricket, what a waste of time, so you do
Yeah.
something productive. And
Hmm.
he says that there's a monologue where he explains that cricket is not a game to watch, it's actually a game to discuss. So you discuss what the bowler is going to do. You discuss
Yeah.
why he's bowling this line. You discuss how he's setting up the batter. You discuss how batter is actually in his mind. He knows that there are 200 runs to score, but he has to go run by run. So that's the discussing part. I don't watch cricket to watch cricket. It's a sport that has to be discussed. So I'll send you that clip if I find like a caption which translates it into English. It's amazing, and that supports your point. I mean, and it I feel it that way as well, because after watching a game, it's like it's the either it's trauma for next 2 days, or it's celebration, and we want to listen to this perspective and that. We want our rivals to praise us, or we want people who are going to criticize us to actually criticize and see, is my happiness valid, or should I be concerned, like how is that team going to do. So yeah,
No,
also
I
I want to,
mean that's
yeah,
a sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but it reminded me of something that happened where so India during this World Cup did this thing of they were really good and then they were really bad and then they were
yeah,
really good again, right? They were really bad in the group stage in the middle. And after one of those games, we put out, normal thing of okay, here's the analysis for today's game. And one of my subscribers reached out to me saying, "Man, I don't know if I can read this. It's really shitty feeling. I don't know if I'm ready to read about right now. I need to get over this." And I went, "You know what? Our analysis is not just India's bad, South Africa's good. Go
Mhm.
read it. It is, yeah, India was good at this. India was bad at this. South Africa was good at this. South Africa was bad at this.
Yeah.
Right? Very specific things about what is good, what is bad. So go check it out. Tell me, how you feel." So he went and read it, and he came back and said, "Yeah, this is great, man. Makes me feel much better. We still
Yeah.
lost. We still suck. But at least I understand what's going on, so I understand how to hope for the next match."
Mhm. Yeah, there and also because that is missing in the post-match shows and pre-match shows, and also these ex-players what they do. Sometimes it doesn't feel nuanced. It just feels as though yeah, they lost because they didn't play well, or they lost because they were not good enough. But sometimes there are so many other factors that come in, and yeah, that helps. And so that brings me to my next question. So you figured out people are loving you, people are reading what you are publishing out there. But have you figured out any model for this, like a business model for this? Is it something that stops mainstream media from doing this? I want to know from you. First, let's talk about a model, perhaps what you have figured out, and then maybe let's come to the challenges.
Okay, so I think they're actually intertwined, right? Why mainstream media can't do this and what the model is. So I've worked in journalism for years, right? For I guess no, almost a decade now, right? 8, 9 years. Um, and I got into it because I was like, "Oh, I want to be a journalist." I studied history in college. So the
Mm,
one marketable skill I had with job employers was like, I know how to research, I know how to write. I don't do anything else.
mm.
So it just naturally went, okay, journalism seems like a similar thing. Research, write, put it out. Um, and I can write decently well because my mom runs a library. So I grew up reading lots of books. So you read a
My
lot,
mom
you learn to
also
write.
runs a library. That's
Really?
such a big coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah, then
I mean,
it's a big difference. Like you just
yeah,
grow up reading, so you know how to write. It's just that
yeah.
simple. Um, so anyway, I got into journalism because of that. And when I was first reaching out to companies, applying to companies, all of that, I happened to run into a guy who was doing a journalism startup. Right, the
Mhm,
advantage of Bangalore, everyone's doing a startup on everything all the time. Um, and I joined just because he said, "Ha, you want to take 6 lakhs a year?" I was like, "Yeah, that's 20% more than what anyone else is offering. I'll come, no problem. I don't care what your company is. It's 20% more. I'm coming."
mhm,
And it turned out to be a very good decision. The company itself sucked, but some of the people who worked there were very smart, and they opened my eyes to, okay, you have to do all the grunt work. You have to sit and you have to write your 300 word, 400 word SEO articles every day. You have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and send out
mhm,
a newsletter every morning. You have to do all that grunt work that takes up 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. But then because it's a small company, they immediately let me do the high level stuff. So within two,
mhm,
3 months of joining the company, I was doing anchoring, I was doing producing, I was doing editing, just everything possible that comes under journalism, right? Um, and it also took me 6 months, 1 year to realize there's no point of me becoming a journalist. There are
mhm,
lots of kids in India who want to be journalists, who are
mhm,
good at it, better than I am. What I can be good at and what I can figure out is the business side of it, right? How do you build a journalism company that is incentivized to provide good journalism,
yeah,
right? Because right now, whether it's TV, whether it's internet, even newspapers to an extent, but more TV and internet, the business model is incentivized towards views,
yes,
right? What is your TRP? How many monthly views do you get on whatever XYZ? Um, and if you're and it's geared towards views because they want to sell ads. That's all, right? It's a very simple thing. So their business model is if I get enough views, I can sell enough ads, I can make money. The problem with that model is you are not incentivized to do anything in depth, right? Because if 10 million people will read a 300 word article, only 10,000 people will read a 3,000 word article. Those 10,000 people will be very loyal. They'll come back every morning. But it's only 10,000 people, right? How do you sell an ad to 10,000 people? So my brain has always asked a simple question of going, if the advertisers can make so much money, where they can come and drop crores, right, millions of dollars on ads, they clearly have to make the money back, right?
Yes.
Because they'll take the ad money, add an operation cost, all the other costs that come to running a business, and then sell their product to the end user. And then they are so confident that whatever money I give you in ads, I will easily make it back by selling to the consumers. Basically, what they're saying is, you are popular, I'm going to steal your popularity to sell things.
Yeah.
So for years, I've always done every company I've worked at, and I've done different things at different companies. I've done operations, sales, marketing, different things. I've always wondered a very simple question of, if we are popular enough to sell ads, why are we not popular enough to sell the product itself?
Hmm.
Right? If
Yeah.
readers like us so much, they go, you know what? I will buy something from this ad because I like you so much.
Hmm.
Why not just buy directly from me? Right? So my idea has been, the business model I'm chasing for this particular company is subscriptions. Just go, hey, if
Yeah.
you like me so much, right? Like what you were saying at the top of the show of, hey, I like it so much that I'm glad I can sit back and just support it now. A lot of people feel that way. You go, hey, if I ask you for a couple of grand a year for this quality for the entire 12 months, plus reporting, plus long reads, plus podcasts, all of that stuff, it's a pretty cheap cost, right? You'll get people used to it because subscriptions are not a normal thing in India at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's starting already in the last 10 years. We've seen subscriptions pick up. So people are used to paying for Hotstar. I guess now it's Geo, paying for Geo, paying for whatever small subscriptions they use here, and they're paying for Athletic if they're already sports fans. So the idea already exists. Now, difference is
Can
how
I
you can
can I
execute it, how you can price it.
yeah, can I just interject here a bit? I think that people in India are already living by subscriptions because, of course, you need groceries and TV bills and Wi-Fi. I feel that from the last 50, 60 years, they have been conditioned to not pay for journalism, and that's where the issue comes in. To pay an extra maybe 300 rupees a month, they can pay for Netflix because no one actually ever told them that TV is free, because they always had to pay for TV. But
Correct.
if TV was free, Netflix would struggle very much to tell people that pay to watch the same thing that you were watching on TV. So
Correct.
I think that's like, yeah, you can either correct me or like share your thoughts on this, and of
No,
course
no,
continue. I just felt that.
you're 100% right. Right?
Yeah.
It's we've been conditioned to think that information should be free.
Mm.
But because we've been conditioned to think information should be free, the information we get is also very substandard,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's very hard to follow the news. Even if you are like fully tapped in, it's really, really hard. We have 29 states. You can't be perfectly knowledgeable about every small guy in every small state doing every small thing, right? So, and none of the news is easy to read, right? If
Yes.
you're just a person going, like even this whole thing with Rahul Gandhi and the whole Bihar electoral thing right now,
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone has heard of it. I am also sure no one can explain it to you if you ask them what's going on, because it is not explained well to them, right?
Yes.
So my basic idea is, so there's two parts to this. The
Yeah.
first thing is, why does this free system work? It goes back
Mm.
to the ads. They are more interested in how many views can we get. So therefore, for the big guys, the mainstream guys in cricket, that would be ESPN, Cricket Buzz, whoever. In normal journalism, Indian Express, Hindu, whoever it is. The main idea becomes, okay, I have to get at least, 10 million, 20 million viewers this month, right? It doesn't matter. We're in a country of 700 million people have access to internet. So I need 10 million, 20 million every month. It doesn't have to be the same 10 million, right? It can be a different 10 million
Yeah.
every month for 5 years before I have to get the same guy back once. That's how many people are on the internet in India, right? So when you operate like that, it is a minimum threshold of views. Now, if you operate like a subscription, the idea becomes far more niche. Where you're saying,
Mm.
oh, you know what? If 100 million people like this, or let's say 30 million people like this idea and want to read about it and want to hear about it, only 1% will pay, right? So that is actually 300,000 people. And out of that 300,000 people, you won't get everyone, right? Some people like you, some people hate you, some people think you're an idiot, whatever. So out of that 300,000, you call it again 10%. right? So 30,000 people is realistically what you can hopefully build a market for. It'll take you 5 years.
Yeah.
But with 30,000 people paying you 3,000 bucks a year, that is more than enough to run a subscription outlet. Because the
Yeah.
second part of this entire problem is the operations of journalism outlets today are very expensive,
Hmm.
right? Half the budget goes towards marketing and social media,
Yeah.
right? And when you're budgeting that much for social media, your operation costs of what can I spend on technology, what can I spend on writers, start shrinking, right? So the service that you're providing, the actual journalism that you're providing, becomes worse. Well, basic math. If I have $100 and I spend $50 on marketing, I only have $50 left, right? So my idea is very simple. Of I've already got an audience base in not very big in the thousands, but it's a hardcore audience base that comes back every day, right? That personally feels connected to me, that reads things every day, that I will start writing analysis on women's cricket. They'll be like, cool, Bangladesh versus Pakistan, come, I'll read it,
Yeah.
right? So it's a build some kind of personal connection with them where they
Yeah.
want to support me. If you take that and you reward it and say, you know what, you are giving me your faith and you're giving me 10 minutes a day to read what I'm writing. I have to make sure that what I write is the best possible version of journalism, right? Cricket journalism in this case. That comes to second bit about Indians, right? What will they pay for? What will they not pay for? There's no clear answer. We'll find out when we find out. Like you said, you try, sometimes it fails, sometimes it works. But my theory is not that Indians won't pay. It's that Indians value for money, right? If I'm giving you $1,000, it better be worth $1,000. You can't give me something that's worth $300 in return. Like
Yeah.
Americans will very happily give you $100 for a $50 product. We will give you $100 for a $150 product.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have to create a $150 product and charge you $100. No problem. That's the goal then, right? So if I'm going to charge you $3,000, it's got to feel like, man, what is $3,000? It is one dinner in a metro city, right? If you go out for drinks, your bill will come to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 easily, right? I live in Bangalore. There are bars in Bangalore now. One drink is $1,200. I don't go to those bars, but they exist and they're full every weekend. So the money
Yeah.
is not the problem. It is the value, right? Again, it's all theoretical. Maybe I'll try it and then I fall flat on my face. But I think this idea of if I write about what I care about, right? If I'm going to nerd out about the number 8 batter in South Africa and how she's really good, and the 35 out of 20 balls she does is so impactful, and I will write 1,000 words on that. There'll be 1,000 people who are interested in that idea, of which 100 people will pay me. That's enough. You
Yeah.
don't need this extensive, multi-trillion-dollar business. Not
Yeah.
everyone has to be
Because
Google.
yeah, and one point to support that is like expanding journalism, expanding good journalism actually means decentralizing it as much as possible, because this one company can never cater to the entire country. It has to be locals, and someone covering the state, someone covering sports, someone covering some other topic that provides this niche, and then perhaps there can be like group subscriptions, or pay us this much and you get four of us together if
Figure it
someone
out.
is
Yeah.
interested in four things. But yeah, I think that is something. And also, um, what do you think about expanding the product itself? Like you said, like journalism or content, why shouldn't I get to sell something? Why are they selling out of my popularity? So do you think that journalism can actually expand, and what they're offering can not just be journalism but also be physical experiences, community building, products, of course? Because I feel that people want to go outside, people want to see these stand up comedians as well. Why not pair a comedian and a cricket expert and talk about something that entertains the audience and also gives them some knowledge? For example, do you see this as well something that can, because then in that subscription there's a discount for the physical event, but for people who don't subscribe to you, they can still pay for that physical event or a
To show.
product that you
Yeah.
have or something else, and it just doesn't need to be this journalism part of it, a story that I publish, but it's a lot of things to bring this community together who care about this subject.
No, I 100% agree. So I'll I'll tell you what my there's an example I want to give you that is directly
Yeah.
related to it. But before that, I want to tell you just one thing to clarify is what is journalism, right?
Hmm.
People get lost in these high principles of fourth estate and the whole
Yeah.
power and this and all that stuff. Journalism is a very simple economic principle.
Yeah.
If these guys have some information and the other 90% of the world don't have information, journalism just takes this information, gives it to everyone. That's all. That's
That's all.
my
Yeah.
job,
Yeah.
right? My job is just tell you, oh, you know what? These are the statistics.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you do with it is your problem. I'm not your parent, right? You live your life. So it's a very basic economic thing of I'm just distributing information. You pay me to distribute information. Now, how you distribute information can be a million ways, right? It doesn't just have to be read this thing. Maybe you
Yeah.
don't like reading, right? Maybe you're ADHD in reading. Oh, sorry, not ADHD. Maybe you're dyslexic in reading and stuff. So you do podcasts. So you do videos. And like you said, right, it doesn't have to be just this. Oh, I look at my screen. You write on your screen. You can. Another part of journalism is the community building,
Yeah.
where if we're all talking about the same thing, then we can talk about it together, right?
Yes.
This is one of the problems that's come from the internet is all of us are consuming very different things on the internet at the same time. So
Hmm.
20 years ago,
Yeah.
when you used to go to school or go to work, you could talk about, oh, did you see yesterday's Pokemon? But today you go, it's like, yesterday I saw something on Netflix, you saw something on Amazon Prime, you saw something on YouTube. Nothing to talk about. One of the last things that you have to watch at the same time is sports,
Hmm.
where the cricket match was yesterday. It was not day before, it was not tomorrow, it is yesterday. So we are all watching it yesterday. So if you can build that community saying, hey, this is a bunch of people who want to talk about the same thing. I think, for example, events is a great next step. So the example I
Yeah.
wanted to give you is I know a guy called Venkat Anand, he's a financial journalist and a sports journalist. He has started something called State of Play, which is a business of sport subscription.
Hmm.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 3,000, maybe 3,500 bucks a year. Just started a month ago. I was talking to him last week. You're saying it's already 70 people have signed up for it. And he is setting up his first event later this month
Hmm.
in Bombay, if I'm correct, where he's going to bring down the ICC's chief financial officer.
Hmm.
Small event, 15 people in a bar in Bombay. First cocktail free.
Listening
You
to the conversation.
just
Amazing.
come and
Yeah.
not even like, oh, some formal thing. It is
Yeah.
just come, hang out. He's there, maybe he'll talk for 15 minutes, and then all of you just
Yeah.
mingle because you guys are all interested in the same idea. You've paid to come for this event. It's nice and small, so you don't
Yeah.
feel overwhelmed and oh, it's a speech and all of that. It's
Yeah.
just, oh, it's a small little networking event. It's not even networking, it's a community event, right? Or just having fun meeting people.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely the next step.
So right now, you want to go subscription. Right now, it's
Hmm.
free, right? Your newsletters right now. So what is going to help you get to that next step? What is something that you're looking at right now?
Uh, so the main bread and butter of the newsletter is still this daily thing where I put out the best stories from the last 24 hours. I will never put that behind a paywall because to me, I am just creating a bullet point list, right?
Hmm.
It's not, there are people who told me they'll pay for that also, but I'm like, no, that is not worth paying for yet.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that just to be, free public service. I'm happy to help people for that. What the next step is, something like the World Cup coverage we did. How do you do it consistently,
Hmm.
right? How do you get maybe the three, four, five people in house that can sit and work on it every day? That can do not just the analysis, but also do reporting, can also do long form investigative stuff,
Yeah.
who can also do podcasts internally. So once you have that team, you can do, six different things. You can teach each other, learn from each other.
Yeah.
Um, the problem now is what I've been fighting for the last 6 to 8 months is when you're hiring people, it's they need to have the skills already,
Yes.
right? And in cricket journalism, the skills don't exist
Yes.
because the
Absolutely.
biggest
Yeah.
guys are not teaching it.
Yeah.
Right. This is one of the funniest things I've learned, or I've heard, right? I don't know how true this is, but I've heard is even the biggest cricket media houses don't have editors that do anything but check your grammar and all that. They don't have editors who tell you, hey, the story is good, but why don't you try adding this or removing this or fixing it like that? Basic mentoring, basic boss work, right? A lot of cricket outlets don't have. All the good guys, right? The really high-end people like Sharda Ugra, Jared Kimber, all these guys who are really Prem Panikar, whoever, have been pushed out of the industry
Yes.
because they are too expensive now. They're
Yeah.
saying, hey, I'm happy just doing this match report, which a kid from college can do part-time, right? I don't need high-end guys to do it. Or anyone who gets to that level is now priced out of a job in cricket. So and this has been happening for 15 years. So
Yeah.
the lowest rung, the newest junior reporters, are not given a chance to learn. So that is the problem right now. Of if I'm hiring someone, I have to also spend 6 months, 8 months, 12 months teaching them. And like you said, right, the finances in journalism are margin thin, like
Yeah.
wafer thin. Sorry. So if I'm spending 12 months just giving away money to people while training them and hoping it works out, that's not a good business model, right? That's the big struggle
Yeah.
right now, right? Even this World Cup coverage, got 10 people, 5 of them dropped out in the first 3 days.
Mm.
What happens if I actually hire people and then they start, I hire 10
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and even if I vet them completely, half of them drop out after 6 months. I've paid 6 months salary for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've paid them to take a free course. So that is the basic problem that right now I'm trying to figure out a solution for. The good news is everyone in cricket journalism agrees with this. They know it's a problem. So everyone I've reached out to saying, listen, I need help with this. They've all come back and said, yes, tell me how, when, where, I will help you. Biggest names in journalism. So
Mm.
that is, for me right now, step one is build that out.
Mm.
Step two is build out this database a little bit more so it can be used by the public accurately. And step three is if we can get those two steps to work, pull together, start a subscription.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's a definite answer, but it's I'm speaking from my experience. So I did journalism, bachelor's in
Mm.
journalism and mass media, and my experience was, and I think that this is true for a lot of colleges, that they teach a very fundamental journalism or fundamentals of journalism that worked around 25, 30 years ago. So
Yeah.
now, when you want to write something, I think the rules are just out of the box. Like, you don't need to follow these 100 rules to get out a story. Of course, you need the basics of it. Of course, you need verified sources, verified information, and these principles that are there. That's of course needed to differentiate you from a content writer, for example, and then become a journalist. But apart from that, gathering a story, the writing style of it, I don't think it works now, because if you are personal, if you are talking with the people who follow you, I think that's enough, and they are going to let go of small mistakes, or let go of things that perhaps they feel अरे इसका तो बहुत simple writing है. They're not going to say that. They're going to look at, okay, this guy is genuinely making an effort and I really like it. Whatever he wants to put down is really good. And I also have this experience, because now I'll just tell you that I was inspired by your format and I started my own format
Oh,
where
that's awesome.
it's a bit different, where I sit on Friday for 1 hour and I look at the biggest story that's out there in India. And because a lot of people ask me, like, okay, do you know about this? Do you know about that? And I'm also targeting people who care and who don't just pick a side quickly. I go through a lot of reports and articles that are already been written, and I just post my own summary, what I understood from that 1 hour of reading, and provide
Mm.
all the sources, so that people, if you want to dive deeper, I am not the right guy to dive deep. You can go and check all these resources, and it's articles, sometimes it's papers, sometimes it's videos from a reputed journalist or reputed media company, and you can do that. Now I am not a very skilled writer, like I can't, like, bring in that storytelling. I just write what I have in mind,
Mhm.
and it's very simple. And I worry a lot that people might not feel as though this is a credible guy because he writes in a very simple language. But the feedback I've gotten is that people actually like that style because it's very quick to read, and it's like, I don't have to sit down and try to unpack what you have written first. I just understand what you've written, and that's it. So in that format, probably that works. So I think, but this wasn't taught to me in my college. I was told that okay, you need to have a summary, you need to have this kind of a headline, and then you need to have this paragraph that will talk about what you have at the bottom of your article, and then, but it just, I don't think it works anymore. There are so many people who want to read so many, different types of articles. They're familiar with what they want. They want substance, and I'm talking about people who really care about the issues. Whether it even in cricket. So yeah, I think that's going to be a problem, or that's going to be an issue. But I think real journalists who care about it will come through, and they will understand how you need to write and how you need to do things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, first off, that's awesome that you've also started doing this, right? And I'm glad you provided 1% inspiration. Also, I'm glad that I was part of it.
Yeah.
I understand. I also was inspired by someone else. This guy called, can't remember his name, but he runs this thing called Next Draft, which is a very similar idea in America. So that's where I got the idea for the cricket
Yeah.
the newsletter as well. So it's nice to see it being followed on. But see, I think what you were saying earlier of people want to follow people they like. And then that means these influencers, creators, whatever you want to call them, sometimes cut corners
Yeah.
because they're like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm generically overall telling the truth. Okay, I got one number wrong, big deal.
Yeah.
Um, the funny thing about that is, if you look at the history of journalism, right, going back to when people literally used to make pamphlets and newsletters in
Yeah.
the 1700s, um, it's the exact same idea, right? People back then, whoever was rich enough and literate enough to create a newsletter, would got stuck in the same idea of, oh, people will buy it because they like me or they agree with my idea. And the ones that differentiated, that became full-fledged news outlets, were the ones who started implementing what we call journalistic standards of verify
Mm.
information, don't just make up bullshit, all of that stuff, right? You can still have a political angle here and there of I like left or I like right or I like whoever.
Yeah.
But the facts are still true, so that when someone reads it, they are going, okay, I can trust that this is not bullshit,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Whether I agree or disagree, whether I ever pay for it again is a different point. I think in today's world, with the AI slop that's been thrown out, and I think with Indians specifically, we've had 10 years of the geo revolution, or 8 years of the geo revolution, as 2017, if I'm not wrong. We've become more mature, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all of us still think of the Indian internet as it was 10 years ago, when it was all just nonsense and everyone's doing anything all the time. But the Indian internet has matured, where even a kid in a small town anywhere in Chhattisgarh, in Meghalaya, wherever, now is fully savvy about, yeah, the internet is not the great world. WhatsApp University is died. You still get WhatsApp forwards, but the concept of I believe anything anyone has shown me has
Mm.
died, right? So what people are looking for again is, who can I trust? And like you
Yes.
said, in
Yes.
some ways it's who do I like, right? But if the person you like, if there's two people you like, and one person has journalistic standards and one person just
Doesn't.
vaguely says things you agree with,
Yeah.
you will eventually start gravitating to the guy who does the journalistic standards, right? Because end of the day, again, go back to the idea of all of this exists for economics. It was not some guy who just said, journalism is amazing, we'll do it. It is an economic reason to have journalistic standards. People
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
stop listening to you if you keep saying nonsense. It's that simple, right? So I think that's where, and you can see it with not even journalists, right? The best comedian in the world is John Oliver. It's what he does is verify everything and then make jokes.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? And that's I think as a society, not just India but globally, we've realized we've gone through 20 years of the internet. We're going,
Mm.
yeah, okay, figure it out. Most of this is nonsense. You have to be more aware. Anyone who's 15 to 20 is still going to jump into it first time. Oh, great, good fun. But anyone who's like 30 plus has reached the point of, okay, cool. The internet is a cool tool, but it's also a lot of nonsense. So
Yeah.
I've got to find the things I can trust. So why Wikipedia still exists. right? It's a very basic thing of when we were in school, every teacher would say, don't cite Wikipedia. It's the worst resource.
Yeah.
Today, they're the guys who are like, yeah, I've got all of my links here. Go look at whatever you want. I've got editors who double check everything that gets changed.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's why it still exists. It's why Google, when you ask Google an AI question, half the time it's answering from Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so it's just I think those standards are not some idealistic nonsense. It's an actual economic value of if I'm the guy who you like, but also I'm the guy who will never lie to you. Some people will get
Yeah,
annoyed,
and
some people will go
it
away, but
it
that's fine.
takes, yeah, and it takes time to build that credibility, to have that. So that's why I think, yeah, so colleges perhaps have to stress on these journalistic standards a lot uh, when they're teaching journalism. So they have to, like, these basic things, like
Mm.
verified information. What is verified information? So that can also happen. So you feel that this is verified, but that's actually a secondary source that has cited some other source. And you need to, like, what is a primary source? And that can be stressed, but the style it can be expressed can be free. I think
Yeah,
that's the biggest combination that can happen. And yeah, I completely agree, because content creators are someone who will perhaps explain some complicated issues, or make people aware about that issue. But the most trusted guy is someone who is following these journalistic principles. And I wouldn't even say that we need more journalists. I would just say that people who are publishing stuff need to do journalism, or need to just have that process of journalism within their process, whatever they do in publishing content. And that will take time, but I think, also, as you said, we've gone through this internet age, but we're also now going to the AI age, where now everyone is now saying that, okay, I don't know if this is AI or not. If this cat is AI or not, I don't know that. And that will also perhaps push people to see, okay, this guy is a trusted person. Like, for a change, I can get entertained by all this AI thing, but if I want a real thing, I need to follow someone who gives me a trusted article or a trusted video, site sources, provides me with different perspectives, and he is real. I mean, that's what perhaps will work as well. I mean, the tides might change. The journalism might get into, like, it will be the easiest business model to get into, because people are just looking at someone to trust.
yeah, no, I do think, say, I don't know about journalistic standards and all that, but I'm saying the basic idea of the guys you can trust to tell you the truth are the ones who are going to win as creators long term,
Yeah, long
right?
term. Yeah,
Because even if you look at all the biggest ones today, they may have come up doing stupid things and making jokes and all that, but they are telling you some fundamental truth that you agree with, don't disagree with, whatever, right? Um, that is, I think, just an easy way to win,
yeah,
right? It's just an easy thing to do. Go, okay, just
yeah,
don't lie. You may not get, again, same thing. You may not get a million viewers, but you'll get 100,000 hardcore guys who
yeah,
really trust you. And end of the day, we live in a country where it's not easy to monetize that stuff because we've
yes,
got dumb banking rules. But that will change. It'll come with time. It'll change. And it's a simple, yeah, it's just a simple thing. If you trust
yeah,
the guy, then you'll trust them and
yeah,
you'll work with them and you'll follow them. And that person has to earn your trust every day. It can't be that, oh, I wrote something 10 years ago and now you
yeah.
still trust me. Every single day it has to match up.
Talking about every day, just to end this, I think I've asked all the questions. You have been relentless in sending the newsletter every single day. I knew you before you started this. I can't remember how we got met, or like how we exchanged numbers and spoke about things. I think we spoke about this cricket and writing stuff, and then you said that, okay, I'm starting this newsletter, and then you started sending that. And since then, I think it's been what, 1.5 years, almost one and a
Two
half
years, yeah.
years. Yeah, 2 years. Every
Yeah.
single day you have been in my WhatsApp, and you even, of course, asked me that, do you want to be on the broadcast list? And I said, of course, yes. And then you have sent me. So I really admire that discipline. And I hope that more people get to know you, more people support you, so that you can have this subscription idea that you want, you can execute that, and of course do what you like in your life. I mean, just do what you love and get paid for it. Yeah, that's the dream everyone has.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being honest with me as well in this conversation, sharing some of the challenges, sharing some of the success. And I hope people who are watching go and check his newsletter out. It's daily cricket. What's it? The cricket daily cricket stories, right?
Yeah. So the URL is
Best.
bestofcricket.substack.com.
Yeah, best of cricket. Sorry, the best of cricket, and you can read the report as well. But I was just checking his Substack, so it has essays, it has detailed articles, and I hope that you start podcasting and videos soon. All right, thank you so much. Any last words? You have I missed out on something?
No, no, I think it's pretty comprehensive. Thank you for having me on. And I'm definitely going to check out your weekly thing from now on because I think,
Yeah,
like I said, I think it's great to have more people writing.
yeah. Thank you so much, and all right for the audience. Until next time.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I would like to remind you that you can subscribe to this channel. It will really help us out. I also post explainers on this channel and exclusively post the shots of the episode you watched. If you would like us to discuss something you want, you can comment down below or connect with me on my Instagram. The handle is navigating_convocast. You can also follow my newsletter where every Friday I pick up a big story and sit for 60 minutes and give you all the sources and a summary so that you can understand the world better. And I also post some of my opinions from pop culture, so it's fun out there as well. Alright, anyways, thank you for watching.